name's Cody Myers. I'm the owner-operator at Wolfheart Ironworks. It's wolfheartironworks.com, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. I'm a bladesmith primarily and also do some blacksmithing. I teach a lot of traditional blacksmithing, axe making, tool making, and knife making as well. Welcome to my smithy, Wolfheart Ironworks. Today I'm going to show you a little bit of my process of forging out a Damascus steel blade. So Damascus is taking two different kinds of steel, one with high carbon, one with high carbon, high nickel, and combining them together through the process of forge welding. So I'm taking two different kinds of steel here, and I'm going to grind them down and clean off all of that mill scale to get the faces really nice and clean so I can bond them in the forge. I'm going to take those pieces, I'm going to cut them into lengths so I can stack them like a deck of cards, alternating the two different kinds of steel. And then I'm going to use my welder just to tack all these into place and weld a little handle on so I have something to hold on to as I am heating my forge up and getting this large billet of about 20 layers forge welded all into one solid piece. I'm going to get my forge up to about 2200 degrees and then introduce my large billet in there as I wait for it to heat up to forge welding temperature. Patience is the blacksmith's middle name, and so I need to show that as a virtue. Here I am setting the welds, so I'm taking those 20 layers and pushing them all into one solid chunk of steel. And then the idea is to draw this big piece of steel out into a long length so I can cut it up and clean it and stack it again, and creating a bunch of layers in that piece of steel, which will change the patterning of the final blade. So it's just heating and drawing out and smushing, and I'm using a hydraulic press to do the majority of this work. I'm swapping out some dies now that I've got my layer count built up, and I'm putting in some patterning into the blade by pushing in lines via the method of embossing. And then I'm going to take those lines and my grinder and grind the high spots down to where the low spots are, and essentially bringing some of those inside layers to the surface of the steel. Now that I've got my billet drawn to a length where I've decided that I have enough material to make my blade out of, I'm going to cut that down and start concentrating on just this one blade. I'm going to finish out rolling that piece out, which is also pushing my pattern in a little bit more. I'm going to go for a final thickness, and now I'm starting to forge in the handle of the blade. Every blade has to have a good handle, and so I do this first to make sure that I've got the shape and size that I'm looking for. Working the billet nice and evenly, mitigating my mushrooming out material and keeping everything right where I want it. And now I'm actually pushing the profile into shape. I'm working on the blade tip. And as I forge that tip down, a lot of the lines that are inside that steel will follow that patterning, and they will contour to the profile. So here I've got my blade shape all forged out. I'm just doing a little bit more forging in the bevels, and I've got it ready to go. I'm going to heat it up one last time, watching it cool down, which is a really special thing, watching steel speak to you in colors, because as it cools down, it's completely changing its internal crystal structure. And so you can kind of watch the soul and spirit of that steel come in and out as you're heating and cooling. And then if you quench the steel in oil or water quickly, you will harden it, which is giving life to that blade. Thanks y'all for coming and checking this out. Again, I'm Cody Myers, Wolfheart Ironworks, wolfheartironworks.com, Facebook, Instagram. If you want to continue to follow along with my journey on there, check out some of my work. I greatly appreciate it. All right, thanks again. Bye.